New developments now with a concern that thousands of our soldiers serving overseas may never get a chance to vote in the upcoming midterms. Texas Republican Senator John Cornyn not satisfied after questioning the Justice Department about why some states are saying they can't meet federal requirements to get those ballots out to our troops in time. Senior editorial writer for the Washington Times, Quin Hillyer, has been following this story. Joins us now. Quin, good to see you today.
Thank you, Shannon. Good to be on.
All right, you have been following this story that apparently some states have applied for a waiver under this bill, this law that was passed last fall. It was bipartisan in nature. Senator Cornyn and also Senator Schumer from here in New York got this done. They want to make sure all of our troops are going to get to vote overseas. States can get a waiver. We know at least 12 states or U.S. territories have applied, but we can't get much more information beyond that. What are we still waiting to find out?
Well, Senator Cornyn and 17 House members also have now gotten into the act, sending letters, want three things, at least in the short term. They want a list of all the states that still are not in compliance with this law. They want the waiver requests from the 12 states that ask for waivers. They want those posted online so the public can see what excuses the states are making. And the third thing is they want to know what guidelines the Justice Department has given to the states. They think that the Justice Department ought to be able to give very specific guidelines, and the Justice Department says, well, no, we can't really do that. But we did send a letter back in April telling the states, what the general rules are. And so Senator Cornyn asked for that letter, or his staff asked for that letter that was sent to the states, and Justice Department said, oh no, we can't show you that either.
Yeah, I talked to Senator Cornyn about this yesterday, and he told me that, his staff did sit down, they have these specific requests, and that those haven't been answered yet. I mean, there is a question about whether or not he's going to put in a Freedom of Information Act request to try to get his hands on these documents, because the bottom line is we're talking about states getting ballots to our men and women who are fighting on the front lines. If anyone, you would think that group would ultimately have the biggest and best right to get to cast a ballot.
Well, you would think so, but on the other hand, in 2008, more than 17,000 military personnel abroad and associated civilians that are basically over there stationed with them were not able to have their votes counted, even though they asked for their votes on time. That's what this new law is supposed to address. But again, the evidence is, or the anecdotal evidence at the very least, is that the Justice Department is dragging its heels, and they're really just not that interested. It's appalling.
Well, we know that Colorado is one of the states that has apparently applied for a waiver. They've got to come forward and show undue hardship, the reason why they can't get these ballots printed and mailed out 45 days in advance of the fall elections. I talked with the Colorado Secretary of State, and I said, listen, your primaries are done 84 days in advance of the elections. Why can't you turn them around? He said we have rural communities that don't have the technology. They have limited resources, and the ballots have to be very specific. They have to be formal. They have to be official, and we just can't turn it around in time. But we're trying to do other things to extend the voting period for our troops. Do you buy that explanation?
Not at all. I'm sorry. In this day and age with modern technology, if you cannot between day 84 and day 45 print out a few thousand ballots and get them printed out and mailed off, then you're either incompetent or else you're not trying. I mean, again, you're talking 39 days after the election that Colorado has to get these ballots out. That is more than enough time. Heck, that was probably enough time during the days of the Pony Express. I mean, it's absurd.
Well, to be clear, we want to let folks know that we have heard from the Department of Justice. They say they absolutely are going to enforce these rights to make sure that our men and women on the front lines get to vote, and anyone who suggests otherwise is not telling the truth. So we will watch and see how this plays out with the various states that have applied for a waiver, what happens with the ballots, and we're going to stay on it to make sure that those men and women risking their lives get the chance to vote. Quin, we know you're following this story as well. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Shannon. I appreciate it.